As a starting point, it's useful to think about the differences between the meaning of gender and sex. If you take two people, Adam and Anna, one's a male, one's a female. They are biologically different, so that's what sex, the definition of sex is. However, gender is the socially constructed ideas, perceptions, norms and roles that are attributed to those two different sexes. These understandings are complex and they're not static. They change over time and they vary within and amongst communities. So for example, you take the socially constructed idea that men should normally wear pants, which in many countries is the norm. However, if you think about Pacific Islands, Fiji, East Timor, where it's acceptable and even expected that men wear skirts. So that's sort of a socially constructed idea of how men should behave and how they should dress. The UNDP definition of gender equality refers to the equal rights, responsibilities and opportunities of men, women, boys and girls. Gender equality does not mean that men and women will become the same, but that their rights, responsibilities and opportunities will not depend on their sex. It is important to stress that gender equality is not a women's issue, but that it concerns and fully engages both men and women. So in the context of coastal management, we do not expect men and women to do the same work, but that men and women will benefit equally from coastal resources. It's also really important to know that gender equality between men and women is seen as both a human rights issue and as a precondition for and indicator of sustainable, people-centred development. Gender equity refers to the process of being fair to men and women. To ensure this fairness, measures that are often referred to as affirmative action or temporary special measures must be put in place to compensate for the historical or social disadvantages that prevent women and men from operating on a level playing field. Equity is a means and equality is the result. For example, if you want women to equally participate in meetings on coastal management, childcare facilities may need to be provided. It would be important that the meeting is held at a safe location and at a time suitable for women that fits around their other activities and responsibilities. Gender sensitive refers to the recognition of the different roles and responsibilities of men and women. There is a need to make sure that any intervention or project does not impact negatively on either men or women because it fails to take such differences into consideration. So in the case of Adam and Anna, it would mean three things. 1, action is required to address the existing inequalities or imbalances between Adam and Anna. 2, that a differentiation is made between both Adam and Anna's needs and priorities. And thirdly, that the views and ideas of both Adam and Anna are taken seriously and considered equally. To make a project gender sensitive, considering the extra measures that would need to be taken to ensure that women can actively participate in a meeting would be making the project gender sensitive. A gender responsive project is one that actively contributes to reducing gender inequalities. It doesn't merely acknowledge them, but it takes that step further to try and reduce the existing inequalities. So a gender responsive project would think about the issues such as gender-based violence that might limit women's contribution to meetings or contributions to a project development. So there's a need to take a broader view in gender responsive projects to see that limitations exist and look at the reasons for these, then craft solutions accordingly. UNDP follows the 1997 definition by the United Nations Economic and Social Council of gender mainstreaming, which is the process of assessing the implications for women and men of any planned action, including legislation, policies or programs, making women's concerns and experiences an integral dimension of the design, implementation, monitoring and evaluation of policies and programs so that women and men benefit equally. UNDP is currently in the process of conducting a year-long project to mainstream gender into UNDP's energy and environment portfolio in Cambodia. 7 projects were chosen and have applied a gender analysis framework as a basis of action to address emerging gender concerns and opportunities within projects. Even though it is too early to evaluate the 7 project successes, some positive results have already been achieved. Gender action plans have been developed and adopted, and trainings have been conducted of project staff so that there is knowledge and the ability to carry out gender mainstreaming in future activities.